Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to another Legends of 40k, and in this one we're talking about an orc special character, Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka, or just Ghazghkull Thraka. He's a special character Waaagh boss HQ for the Orc Codex. He is a good example of what people refer to as beat stick special characters. This is a kind of a special character where it's more so the fact that he's going to rip through things, well, in this case in close combat, and less about him helping out your army as a whole. He helps out your army as a whole by beating things up. That's not to say he doesn't have anything to help out the army. He does have the Prophet of the Waaagh, which we'll talk about in a moment. So let's jump right into Ghazghkull's stat line and whatnot. He's 225 points, so a bit pricey. Weapon skill of 6, ballistic skill of 2, strength of 5, toughness of 5, 4 wounds, initiative 4, 5 attacks, leadership 9 with a 2+ save. He is a unique, so you cannot only have one of them. He is infantry. He has a cyborg body, boss pole, mega armor, stick bombs, big shooter, adamantium skull. Don't really know why he has stick bombs. I guess if you attach him to a squad, that can go at initiative. He's an independent character, furious charge, mob rule, Prophet of the Waaagh, and he may be accompanied by an ammo run for 3 points. He also has the big boss. Now the big boss is something that all war bosses have. Basically, one mega knobs or knobs mob to be taken as a troop choice. It allows. Oh yeah, I left that allows in the beginning of the sentence. It allows one mega knobs or knobs mob to be taken as a troop's choice, which is very handy if you choose to make use of that, and most people do. Usually people take mob. I take mega knobs. I don't really have a big orc force. It's 1,000 points, but it's pretty much Ghazghkull with some mega knobs and their troops, so might as well helps out there. The reason why I take mega knobs with Ghazghkull is he's in mega armor already, so instead of slowing down another squad, he's not slowing down anybody at that point. And I'll go into another reason why I take that in a moment, but let's look at the rest of his war gear and special rules. He has a big shooter, and that replaces the normal mega armor twin length shooter that comes with the mega armor. So he doesn't have both, he just has the big shooter. Be nice if it was twin length, just because orc shooting sucks. He has an adamantium skull, so he gets +2 attacks instead of the usual +1, and he's immune to instant death. And he has Prophet of the Waaagh. Pretty much is a better version of the Waaagh. It lasts for the remainder of your player turn, and then the following player's turn. And during this period, Ghazghkull's saving throw is invulnerable. Normally it's a 5+ for a cyborg body. Now, when you have this Waaagh, for the rest of your turn and your opponent's turn, or the next player's turn, he has a 2+ invulnerable saving throw. Also, for the duration of the Waaagh, all orc infantry automatically count as rolling a 6 for the Waaagh movement they wish to make. Instead of having to roll a d6, you just count as rolling a 6, so that's great. And any non-fleeing friendly units become fearless for the duration of the Waaagh. Very nice. Standard stipulations for Waaagh apply. Cannot do it first turn. You can do it second turn forward. And also, no more than one Waaagh can be called per turn. So if a weird boy Waaghs, you cannot then do the Ghazghkull Waaagh, for example. Alright, so that's Ghazghkull in a nutshell. So, how would I use him? Well, I have used him, granted in a smaller aspect than normal points or normal games consist of. But how I like to use him is with a Mega Knob squad, like I said. Reasoning being, like I said, he does not slow down another squad. They move at essentially their normal speed. Mega Knobs can also absorb a good amount of firepower. Have 2 wounds a pop, just like a knob. But with the 2+ armor save, if he has to walk around or through cover, you can put more wounds on your knobs because of their 2+ armor saves. It really allows them to soak up a lot of firepower and still pretty much get to the enemy. I also, if it has to walk, I will walk him through cover because he's moving the same speed anyway. So, no reason not to there. That's just my opinion, of course, for that. But I would highly suggest any slow and purposeful units that you have, if you have to walk them, get them in cover. and Waaagh when you get the cover save, and you're not really moving any slower than you were anyway. Let's see what else. Also, the reason I put him in Mega with Mega Knobs is because they all have Power Claws, just like he does. And the name of the game with Orcs really is Power Claws. The Orc answer to pretty much everything is Power Claw. They don't have any other power weapons really. Yes, the Weird Boy kind of does, but I'm not counting that. Their shooting is not reliable, so you can't really count too much on their shooting for anti-tank. You can get lucky, and you can have a mass amounts of shooting to hopefully even the odds there. But really, the answer comes down to close combat, and in that, it really comes down to the Power Claw. So the Mega Knobs have Power Claws, and they get 3 attacks per knob. On the charge, that's 4 attacks per knob, and I have a 5 knob squad with him. So that's 20 attacks on the charge, provided they're all able to attack back, and depending on what you assault, they usually can. Also, then comes the question of, alright, we're an assault, who do I attack? Your opponent's going to go first, so do they attack Ghazghkull, leaving the Mega Knob squad high and dry and clear to attack back with their full number of attacks? Or they'll try to dwindle down the Mega Knob squad, hopefully maybe get rid of half of them or more, and then get attacked back by still a lot of Power Claw attacks? Or do they try and split their attacks, which pretty much probably not going to do too well for them? It's a tough call when getting charged by this. Their best bet is to try and kill you off in the shooting phase, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So that's why I do that. Ghazghkull with the 2 attacks on the charge, he has, I believe, 7 attacks on the charge, which is very nice. So 7 attacks on the charge plus the 20 attacks potentially on the charge for the Knob squad equals whatever you charge in with that squad is probably going to die. They're great at taking out vehicles, so if you're going against a lot of mechanized stuff, a lot of heavy vehicles, that squad will eat through it. They are slow. So, slow, going at initiative 1, that is essentially the big weakness of the whole idea of using them like this. That's why I highly suggest putting them in a battle wagon. He's Ghazghkull, the big orc badass of them all. He might as well have a battle wagon. Now, he can't take one personally himself, but the Mega Knobs can as a dedicated transport, and I highly suggest you do. The armor 14 on the front is really going to help. Even the armor on the sides is going to help. So, just getting that, give it red paint, grot riggers or whatever. Pretty much keep it cheap enough that you're not really dumping 20 points there, because Ghazghkull with Mega Knobs is an expensive squad. So keep the battle wagons cheap, or the battle wagon cheap there, and run it down at the enemy. Even if you only get to move it once before it gets destroyed, that's potentially 13 inches of movement that you would have taken you 3 turns to get to if you're lucky with Ghazghkull on foot. And then Waaagh and charge away. I highly suggest taking this squad, Ghazghkull and this squad, and throwing them at the toughest thing the enemy has. Big Gene Stealer squad, whatever, a Carnifex mob, the biggest, baddest thing the opponent has. Against Necrons, throw it against anything, throw it against the Satan, it doesn't matter. The one thing with Satan, of course, is that they ignore invulnerable saves as well, so you do have to be careful. If he does go after Ghazghkull, he might be able to drop him. But chances are you're going to just kill him back with the Mega Knobs. So, really, just throw him at the biggest thing the enemy's got, the toughest thing the enemy's got with that squad. The thing that probably the best chance against them will be Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, Space Marines. But, Terminators, of course. Or even Power Armor. But that's another big heavy squad, of course, and that's a topic for a different discussion. Yeah, that's how I take Ghazghkull. Not everybody does that. I'm sure some people think what I do is dumb with Ghazghkull, but it will work. It is a point sink. You kind of have to build an army around that. And it's kind of utilizing the HQ to win you the game, but not really, because the rest of the army is there to really win the game as well. And Ghazghkull does beat him up. Like, I wouldn't waste Ghazghkull's Waaagh for just himself, really, unless I'm staring down a whole bunch of badass, like shooting or attacking. Really, the idea is to hopefully advance in tempo So if you're going to do battle wagons, I suggest some type of mechanized orc at that point, with maybe 1 or 2 big squads that are on foot. But hopefully getting the majority of squads, or a decent amount of squads, in range for a charge when you use that Waaagh, because it is a good Waaagh to use. So that's how I use Ghazghkull. I see him taking with knob squads, also a very good option, a bit cheaper, and you fit a little bit more boys in a truck than you would be able to with mega knobs. I see him just put in with a big squad of orc boys. Really, it depends. I wouldn't leave him by himself. He is slow. He's going to be pretty much utilizing an entire transport to himself at that point, so you might as well stick him in with a squad as long as they got the room for him, and just assault it. Really, that's all. His big shooter is a bonus. Honestly, I would just use it if there's something else to do, like he's out of range of assaulting. You're not going to walk because you won't be able to get in range with that. Just, take some pot shots, really. But orc shooting is not good. They got weight of fire to help him compensate for that, but he's not. He doesn't have the weight of fire. He's got 3 shots. I'm not saying don't shoot. It's always worth a chance to roll the die, but don't rely on that. Really rely on Ghazghkull's assault. He is an assault specialist, HQ, special character. And that's not too much else to say about Ghazghkull, really, other than really just assault with him. He is an example of the beat stick type of special character HQ, kind of like the one-trick pony, so to speak. He does one trick particularly well, but he doesn't really influence the rest of the army that much. I mean, his Prophet of the Waaagh is very nice, but it's a one-time use thing, and it is more than some other special characters give to their army, so he's not purely just a beat stick with nothing to show for it in terms of helping out the army, but he is a prime example of a beat stick type of HQ. If you feel Ghazghkull, expect your opponent, especially if he's in a battle wagon, to throw a lot of firepower at him. And truth be told, the assault is his strongest and the shooting is his weakness. So enough plasma bolts will bring him down, for example, so be careful. And that's pretty much it for Ghazghkull. A fun HQ, a cool HQ. I just want to say in closing, not overpowered. He's points heavy. I think he's reasonably balanced. Slow speed of moving. Initiative 1 in the assault. I mean, he has a lot of stuff to help him survive for the assault. Instant death and a lot of wounds and a high toughness. But really, he does have his weaknesses, just like every special character does. There's no perfect special character, but if you utilize him correctly, support him and have him support your army correctly, and he can go far. If you just run him willy-nilly out there with whatever squad you throw him with, and overextend him from the rest of the army, they can afford to have the luxury of time to just rip him apart with shooting or whatever, and just pick him apart piecemeal. And you don't want that because he's a big point investment. Anyway, that's pretty much it. So until next time, take it easy.